Debuting from the days of Meteorot 7 as the local police enforcer to help maintain the peace, it is PLC01 Speed Alert, with the kit of Mobile Boost, Shock, Gatling, Wheeled Legs, and the leg ability of Emergency, which buffs his mobility even further when a part is damaged and broken upon being attacked. Now with the scattered kit like what Speed Alert does offer, it does make compatibility for him just a little bit tricky in terms of what he can offer, but given that he does have a support skill, an ailment skill, and a conventional shooting skill, base damage or raw damage output is for sure something that he is not focusing on. Mobile Boost is a support-based skill which will grant himself and all allies on the field a boost to their base mobility, meaning that once it does go live, they will be going approximately about 20% faster than they were before any modifiers are applied. Right arm of Shock, or the taser on his right arm, does allow him to stun any incoming foes and keep them from moving, which will also buy time for himself or even another ally behind him to come up behind and finish the job before they have a chance to potentially punish or nuke you and potentially cripple any incoming strategies that you might have. And of course, his left arm of Gatling is a conventional shooting skill that is a scattered AoE, meaning it will damage one part normally and then two others at random at 1/3 of your damage. Now, with this being said, as mentioned, he is not a combat and a dedicated fighter by any means. Especially as an enforcer, he's mostly meant to support and provide auxiliary combat from the side. With wheeled legs, of course, this does also mean that he is going to have a very high mobility, meaning compared to comparison to most other conventional fighters, he very likely may be one of the first to the line, because he does have the naturally high, if not the highest base mobility in the game, thanks to his leg ability being leg type being wheeled. But with this being said, this does also serve as a very major detriment to Speed Alert, given the fact that wheeled legs are very, very picky on what they are good on in only two terrains at best. Cyber, of course, being one of those two, but then, of course, everybody's S rank on Cyber regardless. But with this being said, he does kind of take this in stride as kind of a forgiving measure, given that his leg ability of Emergency actually makes him go progressively faster the more punishment he takes. So even though breaking parts isn't necessarily something that you want to see done, Speed Alert's honestly someone who can kind of take this in stride and turn it into an advantage, which makes adding certain skills to him or even to his allies as a setup a lot easier for him to manage on the field. As a pure set score, despite all this, I do have to rate him a pretty solid 7 out of 10. Again, he does not specialize in dedicated combat, rather in supportive and auxiliary combat more than anything else. Between Mobile Boost to keep speed up and to keep everybody's speed up and going, the Shock Arm for stunning more dangerous foes, and the conventional shooting attack as well for if he does need to land some kind of blow, he is pretty well balanced for what he does offer. Even if his overall stats aren't overly impressive compared to what you'd expect, this is honestly something he does take in stride and kind of make work to his own advantage. As mixed parts, on the other hand, I do have to rate him higher at an 8 out of 10, primarily for the Shock Arm, given that it's a farmable Shock Arm and a paralyzed ailment that anyone can make use of pretty easily, especially given that it's not a heavy part, meaning anyone can take advantage of it, anyone can use it, and you can fit it anywhere in any team, especially in male-based teams, where ailment skills such as Shock and Freeze are not necessarily as freely available as they would be on females.